Hi everybody, I'm Hugh Amano and I'm with Food on the Dole. Today I'm at the chopping block in Chicago and I'm going to show you how to make some fresh pasta and then dry it for future use. So for this fresh pasta, we have a couple of cups of all-purpose flour, a little bit of semolina flour, which despite its appearance is not cornmeal, it's just a hard type of flour, 3 eggs, and just a little bit of water. All we're going to do is mix this all together. And I'm wearing gloves because this can get pretty sticky. And I'm going to break 3 eggs right into the flour. Then we're going to get our water in there. I'm going to pinch these egg yolks because I really want them to break up nicely. And just start mixing everything together by hand until this dough forms. Now, a little word of warning, this is going to look like something's terribly wrong, but I assure you it is not. Just keep mixing it together and it will all come together nicely. All you have to do is get that flour that's coating the liquid mixed in with the liquid from the eggs and from the water, and that's going to be your path to success here. So keep it working. Once you get a workable ball of dough, turn it right out onto your counter, and then we're going to be kneading it by hand, okay? Just bring it all together. Be sure you're wiping all this excess off your gloves, and you can tell why I'm using gloves. It's a pretty messy job. Keep bringing it together like so. And all we're going to do now is knead it together until we have a pretty smooth ball of dough. We're just looking for all of those white patches of flour to work into the liquid. Kind of use your dough as a sponge of sorts to soak up all the flour that's on the table. You'll be left with a pretty clean table. Of course, you want to start with a clean table too. And that's all we need to do. Now, when we have this very nice, smooth ball of dough, we're going to take off our gloves. And the dough should be really nice and moist, but not too moist. It shouldn't stick to my hands when I'm done with it, okay? So it's moist, not tacky, okay? So what we're going to do now is cut our ball of dough right in half. It's going to make it a little easier to work with, and you'll see why in just a moment. I have a little bit of flour here, bench flour, just regular all-purpose flour I'm going to put on the table and on top of the dough, okay? Get it nice and smooth. Now, I'm going to use my machine here today, a little pasta rolling machine. It has a crank that's going to roll 2 cylinders together. Those cylinders are going to make this nice and flat. So let's give that a head start and just get it right into the machine. Now, you'll notice as it comes out, it's not perfectly square or rectangle. We want to work on that, okay? So what we're going to do is fold it over, keeping in mind it needs to fit back through here. So I fold it over a few times. I have nice straight edges, being sure to dust it with flour as is needed. Maybe a little press more, and then we'll send it right through again. So we have a nice straight-sided piece of dough, okay? A little more flour. Now I'm going to roll it through again. And I am on the widest setting here. And we're going to go through each setting 2 times. This little gadget dials it a little bit closer together. And we're just going to send it through. Now, as you can see, it can become a little tiresome to keep taking it out and putting it back through. So what we're going to do, stop with an inch or 2 hanging out, fold this over, and just make a little bit of a loop here. And that'll make it go a lot smoother for us. Down to setting 2. Again, we're going to roll through each setting 2 times. When we do this, we want to be sure that there's plenty of slack on both sides, the top and the bottom of the pasta. If you don't do that, it'll get really quite thin this way. So two times per setting. And now we're down to number 6. This machine goes up to number 9. So now we're down to number 6. This machine goes to number 9. It's important to note that not all machines are the same, so your machine might not go up to number 9. What's really important here is that you're paying attention to the size of pasta that you want, and I'm talking in terms of thickness here. So right now we're looking at a pretty nice thin piece of pasta. I'm going to go one more setting. So this is the setting right before the thinnest one. All right, and now we've gone through that second to last setting 2 times. It's getting really long, so you can kind of see why we're only working with half of the dough. Take your handy little bench scraper, just cut it off right there and roll it through. So let's just cut it down into these sheets. Now, if you're going to use this for, say, lasagna, you could just go right ahead and use it right now. What we're going to do today is roll this into fettuccine. These sheets of pasta, you want to make sure there's a little bit of flour in between each layer. And that is because you don't want them to stick. So once we have that flour down, these are delicate sheets. Once we have that flour down, we can go ahead and start cutting them, okay? We have a nice, lovely, thin pasta. I'm going to take my handle, put it right into the fettuccine setting of this pasta cutter. Get a little bit of flour on either side of the pasta dough. And then we're going to send it through just like we did when we were rolling it out. I'm going to catch it on this side. We have our beautiful, nice little bundle of pasta. I'm going to toss that with some flour. Now, at this point, you could cook it straight away in some boiling water for maybe 3 to 5 minutes till it's nice and al dente. Or if you want to preserve this for future use, you can do 2 things. Number 1, you can put it onto a sheet tray, just like so, in a little bundle. Fill this up, pop it into the freezer, let it freeze overnight. When it's nice and frozen solid, just put it into a Ziploc bag. Keep it in there, don't have to thaw it, just be sure that you pop it right into boiling water, same cooking time for frozen pasta. Another way to do this, and we'll roll out another sheet. Another way to do this is to hold your strands in a nice uniform layer and just put them onto a normal, ordinary hanger. Spread them out as much as you can. You might get a few stragglers that fall off, and then hang this up around the house. Let it dry fully, and then you can just pop it into a Ziploc bag and keep it that way. And there you have it, fresh pasta dough. Preserve it however you like. You can freeze it, you can dry it. Again, I'm Hugh Amano with foodonthedole.com.